Tyrese Gibson accuses Home Depot of racial profiling in his $1 million lawsuit. So let's check this out. Actor Tyrese Gibson, 44, is reportedly suing the Home Depot for more than $1 million due to an alleged racial profiling incident that he claims took place in their West Hills, California store, a new lawsuit filed on Wednesday says. According to reports from both People and Fox News 11, the Fast and Furious star alleged that he and two men were regularly provide construction services to Gibson, had experienced outrageous discriminatory mistreatment and consumer racial profiling while they were at the Home Improvement store on February 11th. Gibson and the other two plaintiffs, Eric Mora and Manuel Hernandez, are seeking $1 million in damages, which the actor says is equivalent to the amount of money he spent at the store over the years, as well as punitive damages. One, who spends $1 million at Home Depot? It also alleges negligent hiring, supervision, and retention at the company. And the funny thing is, I mean, Home Depot is probably just going to pay this, either the full amount or probably at the bare minimum, maybe like half. It's just going to be kind of funny if they do. In response to the claims, a statement for Home Depot told the Post that they value the actor as a customer. Diversity and respect for all people are core to who we are, and we do not tolerate discrimination in any form, the statement read. We value Mr. Gibson as a customer, and in the months since this happened, we've reached out to him and his attorneys several times to try to resolve his concerns. We will continue to do so. However, Gibson and the plaintiffs claim that the store has refused to take any responsibility for what happened and even doubled down, lawyered up, and treated Gibson, Moore, and Hernandez and what happened to them as not worthy of any due consideration, instead inferring that they are the problem. In February, the three men went to the store on Victory Boulevard, the suit states, but Gibson had begun to be recognized by fans, according to the suit. He decided to have the two other men pay for the items with his credit card while he went to the car, which he claims he told the cashier. But the cashier declined to complete the transaction, so Gibson came back inside to try to smooth things over. Things only got worse from there as the suit claims that the cashier gave no reasonable explanation other than repeating store policy and demanded to see a form of identification and said that the manager refused to speak to the actor. It is only after significant heated discussion with the cashier that Gibson was finally able to complete the transaction, the lawsuit alleges. Gibson, as well as the other two plaintiffs, believe that the incident and the actions of the cashier were racially motivated. The lawsuit claimed that the employees at the Home Depot store purposely interfered with and refused to process the transaction based on their groundless suspicion of Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez, arising from their skin color in the case of Mora and Hernandez, their national origin. Because of that, the three have suffered shame, humiliation, and mental suffering, the suit claims. In a video clip that shows the alleged incident, as well as Gibson on a FaceTime with the cashier after he left the store, was also uploaded to YouTube, according to People. So my problem with what happened is that I've been living 3 blocks from here for 10 years, and if this is a policy, why are you the first person to stop my team and my ability to come in here when I've been coming to this particular Home Depot for 10 years? He can be heard saying to the cashier. So just check out this clip. Yeah.
Include that information. I was just there. I just walked. I was just in your store, ma'am. If you're going to talk to your manager, tell your manager the truth. I was just in the store and I gave my guys my credit card in front of your staff and team member and I walked off. Don't say that I'm not there with no ID. You can pull up the cameras. I was there 5 minutes ago. This is completely unnecessary, what you're doing right now. I'm not answering what? Man, should I have the CEO of Home Depot to call you tomorrow?
Like, to me, maybe there was some racial profiling. I don't know. But what I could kind of like think probably what happened in the like bigger like grand scheme of things based off the article is that he probably wanted his team to basically buy his stuff, so he just gave them his card and it's like, okay, go and pay for it, and he just walked out, right? Based off what was written in the article. Now, the interesting thing about that, there's a name on these credit cards, right? So, if the name doesn't really match with basically what you look like in a sense, people are going to be like, huh, that seems kind of weird. So, for example, let's say that on a credit card it says Abigail, uh, Abigail QT or something like that, right? So it sounds like a girl's name, but there's a guy with a big beard, beer belly, looks like he's in his 70s using that card. People are going to be like, we might need some identification. And if the person can't provide identification with the same matching name, they're going to be like, hey, something ain't right here. Which is probably what pretty much happened because maybe the cashier didn't hear him basically say, like, hey, use my card to pay kind of thing and whatnot. But even so, right, if you basically are inside a store, regardless of how famous you are, if you hand a credit card to another person in front of a cashier, they don't know if that credit card is legitimately yours that you handed to that person. They don't know that, right? There's so many credit card frauds going on. Like people could literally just like strip credit cards and then basically put like some like random card that they card number that they got from like the black market or from sort of like skimmer or something, put onto that card and then pay for it. Like there's a lot of scams going on, especially at stores like Home Depot, Walmart, Costco, basically all these big stores. There's massive credit card fraud going on. So to just expect that everything's always going to end up like going to be perfect when you go and shop at these big stores is just, it almost sounds entitled in a way, right? It's like you feel like things should just work in your favor because basically you're super famous. Like, oh, like you just expect all these cashiers to know who you are, right? Which is not a good look, right? And the thing is, he might win some money, but in the end, you probably made millions and millions of dollars from Fast and Furious. I think that's literally the only thing that people really know Tyrese from, to be frank. I think he does music too. I'm not really sure. But like personally, I only know him from Fast and Furious, right? But I only remember him when like a new Fast and Furious movie comes out. Like that is the only time that like his name comes into like my head, right? So if I just saw him like walking into like a Home Depot, I would not recognize him at all, right? Just me personally. And I like the Fast and Furious franchise. So to expect people that are just working in Home Depot, working their like busy job to just basically automatically recognize you and like be able to understand like, oh yeah, Tyrese just handed his credit card to his employees. Yeah. Because I mean, again, they might have not heard him say anything about it, so to just assume it is not a good look, right? Because if you want to do something like that, you got to be like looking in the cashier's eyes and be like, "Hey, this is my card, Tyrese, right? I'm going to hand it to my employees to pay for all this stuff while I go to the car, right? Here's my ID, matches, go on, right? That's the way to do it. You don't just like assume things are going to run super smoothly, right? That's my only problem with this. Like, the problem with a lot of these celebrities is like they get to the point where they get so much money and so much fame that even if they don't mean to, they still feel entitled in some form, right? Which is sad, right? And this is what it kind of like feels like in this type of situation where like he just feels entitled for people to just know who he is, where this thing works out smoothly.